everyone. Oh God, what week is this? 15. Week 15. All right. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is week 15 of my social isolation get ready with me's. I gave you guys the choice between the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette and the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. The Sweet Peach palette just barely won with 56% of the vote, so that's what we're going to be using today. And I freaking love this palette. This is the original one that came out when it like exploded on the market and then was like out of stock for a while, and then they brought it back like a year later as a permanent product, I believe. So I love this thing to pieces. I think this is one of the best palettes that they've ever made, and I love the scent on this. I know it's not for everybody, but I'm really pleased with it. All right, going straight in with the eyes, I'm going to keep it fairly simple today. I think I'm gonna skip wing liner and I'm gonna skip false lashes too. Who am I know. And I wanna try to do something a little bit different with this palette. Whenever I use it, I always opt towards, let's see here. I always opt towards putting Luscious on the lid just because it's such a gorgeous color. But I do that every single time that I use this palette, so I wanna try something a little bit different. So one of the good things that I found out this week is that because we're flying with Iceland Air to Norway, or we're supposed to, in September, I was a little bit concerned because apparently the borders of Norway are actually open. And I'm like, okay, but like I don't want to go on a trip where I can't go exploring the country, right? Like, because most things are going to be closed, even if we get there. Sure, there's going to be like takeout options, but like museums and like just going to bars and clubs and stuff like that is going to be closed. And I'm like, well, I don't want to spend money to go out there for 2 weeks and not be able to do anything. Especially because I think when you land, you have to go into quarantine anyway. So then I'd be 2 weeks in quarantine and have to fly straight back. Anyway, I was looking into it because I was hoping that somebody would eventually just cancel the flight, give us a refund or a credit. But that wasn't happening, and the trip is supposed to be in September. So I realized there's still a few months left. But I was getting a little bit nervous. Okay, before I keep going with that story, let's get started with the eyeshadow. So I'm going to take Candied Peach on a fluffy brush and put that on through my crease. So with Iceland Air, I started looking into what they were offering based on the COVID-19 situation. And as it turns out, I can rebook the trip up until like September 2021. I am so thankful about that because I literally thought we were just going to lose out on the flight money because there's no way that I'm willing to travel right now. So we would have just been out like the $2,000 for the flights to Norway, which sucks, but I think it's safer in the long run. And I was just super thankful that I hadn't booked any Airbnbs, no hotels, no like day excursions. I hadn't even booked my half marathon that I was planning on running there, which is strange for me because usually I do that pretty far in advance. So the only thing that we had booked was the flights, and now that I know I have until like 2021 to rebook it, I feel a lot better. I'm a little bit concerned that this is still going to be occurring in September of 2021, but at least I have another year of leeway, which makes me very happy. I just have to call and deal with it because it's through Expedia, and I've heard horror stories about how long it takes to get through to Expedia right now. So I've just been putting that off, but I've still got like a few months until the trip is supposed to occur. But man, what a sense of relief, because I never book trip insurance. I just don't see the point. I've never had to bail on a vacation because even if I'm sick, I'm getting to my destination. But obviously it's a very different situation. So yeah, Norway and Sweden is off the cards this year. So it would be my yearly trip to New York City. And I realize that in the grand scheme of things, these are very small things to be complaining about, but it was something I was looking forward to. So yeah, kind of sucks. Okay, so what I'm going to do differently this time is fight my natural instinct and not use a light color on the lid. So what I'm going to do is take Peach Pit over here on a flat shader brush, and I'm going to put that all over my lid. It's brown with like a tinge of purple to it. I wouldn't call this like a straight up purple personally. Just using this palette makes me happy. Just the smell of it in the air. Oh, it's so good. I'm also very proud of myself because I just washed my brushes the other day. So that would make it 15 weeks since I last washed my brushes, which is fairly gross if you're using them every day, but I felt okay with it because I was only using them once a week. Okay, so for the outer corner, I'm going to add in a little bit more of the purples over here. So this is Delectable, and I'm using this on a fluffy brush. And just pat it into the outer corner and then pat it through my crease, blending it into Candied Peach. So before I was priding myself on, or really getting excited about doing takeout like once every 2 weeks when I first went into quarantine, yeah, that has increased exponentially to the point where I think I ordered out all my dinner meals this past weekend, and I hit a new level of richness in terms of how much I'm willing to spend on these things. I spent, I think it was $40 including delivery and tip, maybe it was 42, for a dozen cookies. That's a whole new level of extreme for me. I don't think I'd do it again, but at the time I was like, you know what? I want to support local. It was Pride weekend, and I just wanted to kind of give something to the community because I wasn't obviously celebrating Pride. So I ordered, my contribution was a $40 order from Craig's Cookies in the Village. They were good, but man, they were thick cookies. So yeah, on that note, Pride was this past weekend. I'm filming this kind of late. I was supposed to film on Sunday, and I was not feeling up to it. I went to go film. I'd showered, done my hair, and then I was like, no, I want to go to bed. So I went to sleep for 3 hours, I think, Sunday afternoon, which is unusual for me. I'm not much of a napper, but lately I feel like I'm napping more than ever. So yeah, Pride was a sad state of affairs this year. I usually have a party, have a whole bunch of friends over. We go dancing on the streets and on the sound stages, and it's just a really good time. And this year was like, womp womp, like nothing's going on. I'm at the point where I don't even want to venture out. Like I know there's a few things going on, little like, I think you can even eat on patios now, but I don't know, I'm not here for it. I don't feel comfortable doing it, and I don't want some slice of normalcy when it's more than likely going to get taken back. Because we're seeing stuff where like bars and patios got opened in Texas. People realized how out of control it was and everyone's testing positive for COVID-19, so they're trying to pull that back. And I'm like, I don't want to get excited about something that I'm not going to have. So I'd almost rather just celebrate absolutely nothing and just sort of stay in this sort of like holding pattern. Okay, for my brow bone highlight shade, I'm taking White Peach. Then for the inner corner of my eye, I want to try Bellini. I think it might be a little bit dark, this one right here, but I always, again, you always use Luscious, so I want to try something new. See how that goes. Yeah, I think that's light enough. Oh, that makes me happy. I've always considered this a bit of a dark shade. And since we're here, let's just finish off the eyes because I'm not going to be doing anything well with them later on. So I guess for the lower lash line, you know what? I'm just going to take Delectable and run that the whole way across. So you know what? I'm not going to do it the whole way across. I'm just going to come to halfway and then blur it out at the very edge. That ended up being 2/3 of my eye, but I guess that's okay. Okay, to finish up the eyes, I'm just going to curl my lashes. This is a step I usually leave out from the video because I find them very disturbing to watch when people are curling their lashes. But I'm leaving it in. Let me know how many people are creeped out by this. And mascara today, the Hourglass Caution Mascara. I don't love it, but I'm just going to use it up because there's no point in me opening YouTube now. Not when I'm only wearing mascara once a week. I just feel like it makes my eyelashes feel kind of crusty, and I can't stand that feeling. I like when they feel kind of pliable, like almost waxy, like if I touch them, not just natively sitting there. That crusty, kind of crunchy feeling is not for me. Eyes are done. I like how it came out. Again, I'm not somebody who generally goes for something dark straight on the lid because I find like it makes my eyes a little bit smaller, but sometimes it's nice to just have something a little bit different to look at than my usual color choice. So now I'm going to move on to foundation. I'm hoping this color matches me. I feel like I say that every week now, but because I'm not wearing foundation every day, I literally have no idea if some of these shades even match me at the moment. So this is the Revlon Color Stay liquid in normal to dry formula in the shade 200 Nude. I love the Revlon Color Stay so freaking much. I'm praying this matches me right now. I just feel like Revlon knows how to do foundations. Almost all of them end up working out for me. The only one I didn't love was that Revlon whipped foundation, the one that came in like the jar, the thick glass jar. I used the whole tub up just because I had it and I didn't have a ton of foundation at the time and I felt like I needed to finish it. I didn't love that one, but everything else seems to be good. The Candid foundation's fantastic. This liquid Color Stay's always been good. The full cover foundation, that's one of my absolute favorites. And I know Revlon can be pretty pricey at the drugstore now, because I'm pretty sure like this goes for like $25.99 Canadian, which feels like so much money for a drugstore foundation, but honestly, it's worth it. They're just really good at foundation and lipsticks. Their Super Lustrous Lipsticks line is like one of the best that I own. I don't have that many shades, but they are so comfortable to wear and the shades are beautiful. I'm particularly a fan of the cream formula. I've been meaning to do a video on like my favorite lipstick formulas ever, but I'm discovering that a lot that I love are ones that have been discontinued, which is really frustrating, but I guess that's just the makeup world in general. Oh, one thing I forgot to add to my eyes was a waterline color. I'm just using the Inglot Kohl Pencil in the shade 05, just because I want to make this area a little bit brighter. Okay, we're gonna keep the rest of the face super simple because I'm just gonna be using the companion palette to this. This is the Too Faced Sweet Peach Glow face palette, and I just think this is fantastic too. I'm a little bit like confused why they made the blush so freaking big, because the bronzer should definitely be the larger pan in here, but for the purpose of aesthetics, I can understand why they did that. So I'm just going to put the bronzer in the usual spots on my face. This one has a little bit of a sheen to it. Oh, it smells so good. I just got a whiff of it again. It smells identical to the Sweet Peach palette. You have to tell me if you're a Sweet Peach scent fan or if you like the peaches and cream scent more. I am not too keen on the peaches and cream scent. I mean, it's fine. It's not a detriment to me, but I just don't love it like I love this one. I feel like this one is just so much more like fuzzy peach. But I know a lot of people had not a reaction to it, but just really don't like it because they find it way too pungent. But scent's always gonna be like that, right? Like some people feel really against it and others love it, like me. And I wish they'd make more in this range too. Like I feel like they went to the peaches and cream type stuff and then just left and abandoned Sweet Peach, which is weird because it really started the craze. And now into the blush, which is like my favorite type of coral shade. Pink with a lot of orange to it. Oh, I think that's too much IRL. On camera it looks on camera it looks like a lot, I guess. In person it's even more. I'm trying to desperately blend that out. Never come to me for tips on blush application. I always overdo it, and it's not intentional. I don't necessarily like that look on me, I just go overboard. Okay, and lastly, highlighter in here. Okay, I'm gonna do my brows off camera and then I'll come back and we'll finish up with the lips. Okay, so to finish this all off for lips, I'm gonna be using one of my favorites by Bite Beauty. This is the Amuse Bouche lipstick in the shade Bite of Atlanta, and it's just I quantify this more as a peach than a coral, personally. Yeah, more peach. And I think it's gonna go with the crease color, which is funny because I would not normally think they would go together, but because the purple kind of toned down the coral color, I think it's gonna work. So that's it for the final look using the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I'm pretty happy with how this came out. It does feel good to fight my natural instinct every now and then and put something a little bit darker on the lid. And I always love how Candied Peach looks through my crease. I just think it's such a, it's a loud color, but it's something a little bit different and it can look quite natural in that area. Other shades that I really love in here in the crease area tend to be Summer Yum. I do use Georgia every now and then, but it's so pale that it really doesn't show up that much. I mean, I could rave on and on about this palette. There isn't a shade in here that I don't like, I don't think. Yeah, they're pretty much all good ones. This is such a great palette, and I think it's still permanent. Man, I hope it's still permanent. They remove so many good things from their lineup that it makes me a little bit nervous for this palette. So I'm gonna end it there. That's it for week 15, and we're now moving on to week 16. Oh, how many more weeks? I've been saying since the beginning, I think it's gonna go until 2021 for me. They have told us at work, don't expect until at the very least September, but I may have already said this. I'm starting to re-say things that I've said weeks ago, but I just can't remember. I think they're telling people September in an effort to keep them in high spirits. But I really think the overall intent is like months down the line from September. They just don't want to tell people because people still need that sort of something to hold on to, that life is going to get back to normal anytime soon. Doesn't really matter to me either way. I'm still working from home, and I will continue to do so until it's safe, which I think is going to be still quite a very long time. Anyway, I'm done rambling. I'm going to end it here. Thanks for joining me this week, and I will see you next week. Bye.